Throughout the years, witches have cast their spell in the world of pop culture. They come in all shapes and sizes, from trippy hipsters and emo teenagers
Say it with me, or you'll burn in hellfire.
to green-skinned Broadway belters and depressed scarlet Sokovians. But how do these fictional witches fare against real-life sorcerers? Bring out your magic potions, because we're about to summon the 9 infamous witches who actually existed. What's up, Fanatics? This is Discovery Amuse, serving up your daily dose of the most outrageous, outlandish, and out-of-this-world fun facts. Stay tuned till our number 1 pick, because there's nothing basic about that witch. Number 9. Mother Shipton. This 16th century English soothsayer, whose real name is Ursula Southill, was a revered prophetess born in a cave in Knaresborough, Yorkshire. From birth, she was believed to be physically deformed and had suffered a hunchback, crooked nose, and bulging eyes. Her mother was a rumored witch, and her unnamed father was suspected to be Satan himself. Mother Shipton wrote poetic prophecies ever since she was a child. Legend has it that she had predicted significant historical events like the fall of the Spanish Armada, the Great Plague of London, and the execution of Mary, Queen of Scots. Today, tourists continue to flock to Mother Shipton's cave in Knaresborough, where a petrifying well can be found. The water here contains a very high level of minerals that turns every object it touches to stone. Keep watching, because our top pick is a real-life German horror story. Number 8. Murga Bean. Born in the city of Fulda in Germany, Murga Bean was the most famous woman convicted of witchcraft in the Fulda witch trials that occurred between 1603 and 1605. Murga was married thrice and inherited a significant amount of wealth from 2 of her husbands, with her not being able to conceive for 14 years with her latest husband. When she finally had a bun in the oven, the townsfolk accused her of conceiving through Satan. Despite her condition, Murga was forced by way of torture to confess to canoodling with the devil, along with taking part in a witch's sabbath and murdering her second husband and their children through witchcraft. She was burnt at the stake along with her unborn baby in 1603. In 2013, a musical which told the tragic tale of Murga Bean premiered in Fulda. Number 7. Alice Kittler. What made suspected witch Alice Kittler so powerful wasn't her voodoo per se, but her great political influence in Ireland at the time. See, in the 1300s, she obtained an obscene amount of wealth after her husbands, yes, all 4 of them, mysteriously died shortly after their marriage to her. Her jealous stepchildren eventually accused Alice of witchcraft, killing her late husbands, sacrificing animals to demons, and trying to undermine the church through black magic, among other things.
Tie me down to the stake, but you will never escape my hunger nor that of Satan.
The case was later brought up to the Bishop of Ossory, who was hell-bent on bringing Alice to justice, but she was so politically influential that she and her followers were repeatedly acquitted. Alice would have gotten away with murder if it weren't for one of her servants confessing to witchcraft and vouching for her guilt. Despite being sentenced to burn at the stake, Alice still had one final trick up her sleeve. The Chancellor of Ireland and her former brother-in-law helped her escape to England. You know, just another perk of being witch and famous. Number 6. Mihaela Minca. Considered one of the most famous witches in Romania today, Mihaela Minca, along with her Coven of Roma minority, makes a living in Bucharest by offering their witchcraft services online to her clients from all over the world. Whether it's about finding love, wealth, or exacting revenge, Mihaela is your supernatural gal. However, she believes she has a higher calling to curb political corruption through her dark powers.
Cia vrăjitoarelor din România să tragă energia din Statele Unite pentru a o arunca asupra guvernului român.
Nowadays, It's legal to make a living as a witch in Romania as long as you have a permit and pay your taxes, as part of her quote-unquote civic duty in the run-up to the 2019 Romanian elections. Mihaela and her coven prepared a potent concoction which was meant to clear the minds of the good candidates to make the right decisions and to curse corrupt officials by sending them to jail or inflicting sickness on them.
Cruce din cruce făcută. Ritualurile noastre magice să fie aruncate peste oamenii politici din România.
Number 5. Helen Duncan. Dubbed as the last woman to be tried as a witch in the UK, medium and spiritualist, Helen Duncan became known for her producing what's called ectoplasm during her seances, which is believed to be a white substance that gives spirits a physical form.
It's a substance that's extruded from out of the medium's body. Quite common is the mouth, the nose, eyes, ears, even under the fingernails.
In the mid-1900s, Helen made a living through her spiritual readings, but she was condemned as a fraud by the London Psychiatric Laboratory. Skeptics only started taking her seriously during World War II when, during one of her seances in November of 1941, a dead sailor she had summoned told her that his ship, HMS Barham, had sunk.
There appeared the face of a man, short hair, and suddenly one of these blobs, as it were, being almost thrown on, formed a fairly large moustache. I said, "Oh, moustache!" It was a silly thing, but you know.
You knew who it was?
I knew, yes, from immediately recognizable, as I would recognize you.
The sinking of the HMS Barham turned out to be true, and the Navy had apparently been keeping it confidential for months. Fearing she might reveal more top-secret information, the government tried to discredit Helen by charging her for violation of the centuries-old Witchcraft Act of 1735. Number 4. Marie Catherine Laveau. Remember Angela Bassett's character in American Horror Story Coven?
Out with the trash. Give Papa my regards.
Yup, that's inspired by the legendary voodoo queen of New Orleans, Marie Catherine Laveau. The 19th century healer and herbalist became famous for mixing voodoo practices from Africa with Native American spiritualism. But despite the occult nature of her occupation and the satanic spin on her AHS character, the real Marie Laveau was actually known to be a devout Catholic, religious leader, and community activist. She also healed the sick, was generous to the poor, and was highly revered by the white elite at the time. She worked as a hairdresser, gaining the inside scoop on wealthy white clients from their house servants. She then used the intel to help people with counseling and protection against curses.
You'll never be welcome here, and those witches are the worst.
Marie's followers still visit her gravesite in New Orleans and write 3 X's to ask her for wishes. And apart from her apparition occasionally walking the streets of Louisiana, the Voodoo Queen still has a strong presence in pop culture today. Number 3. Aleister Crowley. Born Edward Alexander Crowley, Aleister was a 20th century English occultist, magician, writer, and mountaineer who's recognized as the last great magus of the West. He was raised in a devout Christian family but turned away from the faith in favor of learning the ways of astrology, tarot, and black magic. Aleister's talents and fascination with the occult literally took him places. He traveled around the world studying mysticism and wrote several books on the subject. He claimed he achieved spiritual nirvana. He wrote the Book of the Law, a life principle allegedly dictated to him by an Egyptian spirit called Aiwass.
Crowley was endeavoring to found a book of inspired writings, whereby Crowley portrays himself as a medium for some higher force.
The book became the foundation of the new religion called Thelema, which he would label himself as a prophet and address himself as the Beast 666. The rituals in his religion were so sick and depraved that Aleister was once dubbed the world's most wicked man. Number 2. Catherine Monvoisin. In mid-1600s France, Catherine Monvoisin, aka La Voisin, was a fortune teller and a commissioned poisoner. She began taking up palmistry and face reading to support her family when her husband went bankrupt. She eventually became a midwife and abortionist to the wealthy aristocrats of the time. According to the grapevine, she burned aborted fetuses in her home furnace and buried them in her garden. Being quite the businesswoman, Catherine expanded her fortune-telling to selling aphrodisiacs and poisons to help make her clients' wishes come true. This trade led her to becoming the central figure in the infamous murder scandal called the Affair of the Poisons, where about 1,000 people were killed either by poisoning or black magic between 1677 and 1682. Catherine was arrested on her associate's testimony, was found guilty, and sentenced to burn at the stake on February 22, 1680. Before we go to our number 1 pick, do us a solid and make sure to smash the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Don't forget to choose all so you won't miss out on any of our latest life-changing, boredom-busting content. And of course, be sure to turn on notifications in your app settings. Number 1. Walpurga Hausmannen. This licensed midwife was executed during a German witch hunt in the 1500s, but while other suspected witches maintained their innocence, even at the cost of their lives, Walpurga actually admitted way more than she needed to, giving one of the most graphic confessions of witchcraft in occult history. She claimed that when she was widowed, a demon named Federlin came to her house one night and promised to get her out of poverty if she sold her soul to Satan. Then to seal the deal, they flew via pitchfork to meet the devil himself and feasted on wine and roasted babies. Interesting pairing. Turns out that witchcraft aside, Walpurga was guilty of so many gruesome atrocities. She used an ointment from Federlin to damage harvests and animals and harm people, including children. To top it all off, she was accused of killing around 40 children before they were baptized, feasting on their blood and using their hair and bones for rituals. Walpurga was ultimately found guilty and burned at the stake, her chest and limbs maimed one by one on the way to her own execution. So, which witch made your skin crawl? Let us know in the comments section below. Take home any of our exclusive gear by browsing our merch shelf or clicking the link in the video description. And while you're at it, take our quiz to find out how you can earn extra cash online doing what you do best. Awesome, right? Now, here's something that doesn't need any form of witchcraft and wizardry. Check out our roundup of the 10 places where the earth acts in mysterious ways. Till then, stay spellbound, Factnatics, and see you in the next video.